Have you ever tried to work on an urgent paper? If so, you know about that situation. Once you've got into the right state of mind, it is time. Not to write, but to carefully prepare the groundwork. Otherwise, you risk going in a wrong direction and wasting what you shouldn't waste right now, your time. Have you ever tried out these tips and tricks? If you haven't, this is the best chance. So let's see what we can do to deal with an urgent paper. There are many ways to do it, using slightly wider margins, or a larger font, for example. Don't be tempted to do this. Any English teacher has seen it done dozens of times, and will immediately recognize such tricks. The only thing you achieve is that, a look of deep annoyance cross their faces. You surely don't want this to reflect in your grade. Right? When you are under the time pressure, it is likely easy to skim over the question, to get to writing faster. Don't do this. It is all too easy to miss some crucial details and realize it only when you reread the question, after the essay is finished. It may be too late to introduce any changes. It is especially dangerous when you are nervous, and you are understandably nervous. If you have an essay to be done in a few hours, your brain can't think straight, and you may be inclined to see what you want or expect to see instead of what is written in the question. That's why you should always take your time and read the question carefully. If you already know which books you are going to use, it's excellent. If not, use the academic search and indexing services, like Google Scholar or EBSCO, to find sources dealing with your topic. Make notes if necessary, or simply place bookmarks in places you are going to use in your writing, to avoid losing time hunting for the necessary fragments while you work. Plunge into evaluating the information you find in your sources. A thesis statement is a short, no more than a couple of sentences at most, expression of the main gist of your argument. Summing up your argument makes it easier to organize your information and keep to a single train of thought throughout your essay. If you find it difficult to boil your argument down to a single sentence, there are chances that you don't quite realize what you are writing about. Your idea for the essay is either too vague, or you don't quite understand the question. Don't start writing until you get it out of the way, otherwise, you risk wasting valuable time. As for the writing per se, working on a paper that has to be done today is quite similar to the way you usually work. The only difference is that you have to save time, whenever possible, and work fast. It may be quite difficult to keep the necessary pace, so you should take care to maintain discipline and avoid distractions. Here are some other things that you may want to consider. Speed things up by typing your notes in the same document you use for writing an essay. For example, plan out what exactly you are going to write in each paragraph. Write a single sentence describing the main point it covers, and a couple of lines that support the evidence for each paragraph. After you've mentioned all the points you want, reread the results. If necessary, reorganize them in the order that you consider as the most logical one. What results from it is going to be both a detailed outline of your essay, and a framework around which you are going to build it. Arrange an outline that is basically the gist of your essay without all the usual filler, padding, and quotations. Your job now is to provide exactly this. Spread out your arguments, add citations from your sources, make sure paragraphs flow into one another logically, fill in the blanks, and you will see how the essay grows around the frame. Don't bother with introduction and conclusion until you've written everything else. The introduction comes first for the reader but not for you. It should be written from the perspective of someone who already knows everything there. Know about the subject matter, research the essay question thoroughly, why, and make all the necessary conclusions. If you try to write the introduction first, you will most likely have to rewrite it from scratch later on, so don't bother. The most logical order of writing is a thesis statement, body paragraphs, introduction, conclusion. This order has been established by specialists long before you, so don't try to reinvent the wheel. Complete the reference list. If you are told to provide references for your essay, do it as you go along. Don't either put it off until the end, this way you may miss something, or try to organize your bibliography beforehand, you never know which sources exactly you are going to quote. Depending on the formatting style you use, APA, MLA, Harvard, etc., organize quotations either as footnotes or directly in the text, as it is accepted in the APA style. When you quote somebody, add the necessary note to your bibliography and in the paper itself. Concentrate on one task at a time. Right now, it is writing. Don't get distracted by correcting typos or mistakes until you've finished typing the whole essay unless you get really bothered by red underline in Microsoft Word. If you constantly go back to correct something, you risk losing your train of thought and, therefore, your momentum. Don't plagiarize. As you write, you may be tempted to simply copy and paste a sentence or two here and there to speed up the process. Don't do this. If you take something from another book or article, always quote it. Plagiarism is a serious academic offense that will cause you to lose your instructor's trust at the very least. In many colleges, it may lead to other, even more unpleasant, consequences, up to expulsion. Taking into account how easy it is to check if the text is original these days, the risk is simply not worth it. Avoid relying on quotes too much. Students pressed for time often introduce long and numerous quotes into their writing, trying to bloat their word count as quickly as possible. Don't do this, it is an obvious trick and immediately demonstrates that you didn't do the work you were expected to. Most of the content should be your own. If you use quotes, make sure they are short and to the point. Without any doubt, the best way you can follow, when you are given an academic assignment, is to plan ahead, and gradually write it over the entire period of time you're given to perform the task. It is especially true for large research papers, that take a while to collect all the information needed when working on them. However, it isn't always possible to do within the short deadlines. Sometimes, you have too much other work to pay attention to in your research paper. Sometimes, you may lose an almost complete assignment, because of a computer crash. That's why don't forget to create a backup version to avoid such cases. Sometimes, you simply procrastinate, until the very last minute. Reasons don't matter, what matters is that, you have a single day to complete your college assignment and not a single idea on how to do it, if this is the kind of predicament you find yourself in. Once you've got into the right state of mind, it is time. Not to write, but to carefully prepare the groundwork. Otherwise, you risk going in a wrong direction and wasting what you shouldn't waste right now, your time. So, follow these steps to deal with an urgent paper. Don't miss single step, and go through on those again, if you have missed any. If you got this video helpful to you, please give a thumbs up. Don't forget to share the video among your friends. Subscribe the channel to join with us. Thanks for watching.